Got a new project. This is Project Man Cave. We're not really going to repair this. These old flat motors are great. But for what you would have in this motor to get it really going right, you can get a better motor. So all I'm going to do is drain the oil out of it. The oil actually looks good. A little clumpy. It's taking a pee right now. Oh, it's peeing on my table. Oh yeah, it is thick oil. It's disgusting. It's real watery. It's water oil. Freaking water oil. All right, well, let's put its plug hole back in. For those of you who are interested, haha, what's up, yo? Yeah, it's peeing like a racehorse. For those of you who don't know, this is an old Tecumseh. I think this is a 3-horse. Ah, this is cool. On the side of this motor it says for lubricants, in the summertime use 30 weight oil. In the winter you have to use 5W30. Summer and winter oil. Anybody did that though. Seriously doubt it. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is get these trumpet things off of it. This is an old mini bike engine, and somebody hated their neighbors. Like for real hated their neighbors. Man, my wrenches are all backwards. Man, I hate backwards wrenches. I'll have to have a talk with the guy who keeps putting my wrenches back. So the current owner, he likewise hates his neighbors, and so he wants to keep these, but we're going to try to put them on a Honda engine that we're building for him. And so I have the lucky privilege of taking these turds out. Grab some screwdrivers. So, yeah, he hates his neighbors. He wants to give the finger mini bike style. And I really hate these old flathead engines aren't made anymore. A lot of people, yeah, it's really sad. Other people need to chat. A lot of people learned how to build motors by working on these things. They're so simple. And it's not that the new engines aren't simple, but there was a lot of room to make mistakes with these when you were working on them. You know, if you got the timing wrong, they're just not going to run. Versus these newer motors, if the timing's a little off, you're going to have pistons hitting valves. And they were just more forgiving, unlike everything else back in the day. Man, look at this. Look at this screw. This is what's holding the muffler on, if you want to call it a muffler. More like an exhaust trumpet. That and this weird set screw. Yeah, these things are pretty cool. I don't know if I don't think Tecumseh's even in business anymore. I haven't seen anything they made in a long time. You can go on YouTube still and find videos on how to work on Tecumseh's. This one, I believe, has a points ignition system. But we'd have to get into this flywheel to see it. Trying to get this exhaust trumpet off so we can make some true neighbor hater pipes. I mean, there's no greater way to give your neighbor the middle finger than a trumpet, a literal trumpet exhaust. Pretty freaking cool. Well, that's righty-tighty. Let's do lefty-loosey. And this is another thing I love about these old engines. I think I got a neighbor. I got company coming. I mean, check this out. Check this out right here. The exhaust pipe is literally plumbing fixtures. Pop this ring loose and this whole thing screws off. I'm gonna leave it there. So, got this. I think I'm going to. Here's my mini bike engine. Boom! That is the heart of Kayla. Waiting to build a test stand. Yeah, I'm digging it. I'm waiting. I can't wait to fire it up. I just put the exhaust on earlier today. Right. I need this crate for engine parts. Pretty much all I'm going to do to this thing. Wow, they welded that. Wow, that's really weird. The one I just took off, yeah. This one, however, is going to be wall art. So what we're doing is taking it apart and we're going to grease up. We're going to drain all the oil out of it, which we've already done. And then we're going to grease up the internals. So that way, because it, oh shoot, well the spark works, how about that? It's still freed up on the inside, we want to keep it that way. But this is going on a shelf for looks. Where y'all can see it better. Going inside of my friend's man cave. We're just pulling all this extra stuff off. Yeah, I love these old motors. They're pretty freaking cool. I was just saying earlier, I wish they were still made too. This was a really solid design. Why would you have a trumpet on the carburetor? That's so silly. It's cool looking though. That's probably why. All right. Well, man, I'm glad you jumped on, and like it's always good to hear from you. And I want to take time and do this more regularly, so that way y'all can jump on board with me. I've got a lot of cool projects lining up right now, so we'll be able to do this more regularly. And some things will be actual repair jobs that need to be done. And sometimes we'll be just doing exploratory surgery on stuff I find in the scrapyard. When I was a kid, I always loved taking stuff apart, and then I grew up and I'm like, why don't I do this some more? And then it hit me, why don't I do it for YouTube? So you guys can enjoy it with me. There you go. Old school aluminum something. I don't even know what that would be. Top of this burnt you crunching looking carburetor here. God, that is awful. Old school. Here we go. This old gasket. This is the carburetor intake. Is that not the most redneck thing? What's up, Outdoors? Man, I'm doing good. Taking this old motor apart. We'll put these screws back right here. I seen an old mechanic do this. Every time he takes something apart, he tries to put the screws back in it, so that way you don't lose them. I think it's pretty genius myself. Well, the dang part is this intake here, this old cast iron intake. Rusted solid. We're going to pull this governor off too. That's what these old motors, man, they're tough. It has spark. I could probably shoot some gas in this thing and it would run. Check out the spark plug cap. Turn it around. This is the spark plug cap. Let's see if you can get it better. Clean my lens. There we go. No insulation. So if you touch this like I did earlier, it'll bite you. I'll give you a close-up of the carburetor too. Look at that. Old and crusty. Under here is where you adjust the valves. It's pretty sweet. Pretty sweet old motor. Let's see. And what's neat about stuff like this is, you know, a lot of the guys that would build these things, they would just use what they had laying around, you know. This was probably some dad building stuff for his kid. And you'll have mismatched bolts. Or some kid learning how engines work. Man, this could be somebody's grandpa, you never know. It's definitely old enough. I got a motor coming. What's up, Wyatt? I got a motor coming that's it's a real treat. It's a old Fairbanks and Morris from way back in the day. They made the old stationary engines, the really big ones that you see at tractor shows. Apparently they make go-kart engines too. But I think it was more at the end of their days, because you don't really see Fairbanks and Morris engines anymore. Let's work on this side. Into the cam, see if something better. I think that angle sucks. It definitely does. Here we go. Trying to get this old nut off. It's being hard-headed. It's coming though. That's the thing with old projects like this. You just have to be patient. Take your time with it, and it'll come apart. The more violent you are with them, the more work it's going to cause you. Somebody was smart enough to use stainless hardware here. I like that. Other than the water that was mixed in the oil, it actually looked pretty good. I'm thinking this was stored inside. Dropping my wrenches. What the heck? Can't just be dropping wrenches. Because when you drop wrenches, the job gets harder. Who would have ever guessed that? It's really kind of a hard angle to get to. All right, back to the other side. Back to the other side. Almost got it off. Just a little more. That nut there's pretty loose. Yeah, this will come off easy. Gotta get this bracket here off first. Oh, wrong way. You definitely cannot righty-tighty to get it off. It's not one of them kind of nuts. Get off on just my hands. Oh, it's so close. There we go. There we go. We got this. We freaking got this. Maybe. Did I just make this harder for myself? I think I did. Uh-oh, 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 uh-oh. What do we got? Boom. Drop the bolt. Uh-oh, uh-oh, uh-oh. What's happening here? Little skeet. Tried. Yep, that's done. because somebody hit the microphone button. I've been talking to myself this whole time with no microphone. That is great. You just saved the day. Literally talking and nobody can hear what I'm saying. That is wonderful. Why is that even a feature? And you were the first one to say something, King Arthur. Man, you really are the king. Well, that broke. Truthfully, yeah, that broke. Right here is not worth saving. So we're not going to. We're not going to save this. I mean, that float is in there for dear life. But you probably could get this running again. They're so simple. I mean, this is just a jet straight in there. You'd have to find a new one of these. Pretty sure this is what set the air-fuel ratio. Or with some sort of enrichment screw. Nah. Had my shots. I don't think I have to worry about tetanus. If it hadn't killed me yet, I don't think it's going to. You know, come to think of it, I don't actually know anybody that's ever gotten tetanus. I guess because everybody gets their shots. We freed the float. It's a free float. Free floater. I wonder if the float floats. Oh, look at that. That's free. That's coming loose. Oh, that's plastic. Are you serious? That's dumb. That's plastic. How do you get it off? Let's see. Oh no, this was working. Ah! Yeah, that's how it just breaks. Well. Let's hit this one screw. Without breaking. Not happening. Nope. Still pass through. Yeah, you'd need a new pin right here, but this would work. This really would work. I think it would. Ah, what do you know? It's loose. How about that? How about that? Yeah, if I had an ultrasonic cleaner, man, I actually would try to make this thing new again. See what happens when I grab it and twist it. We got movement. What's up, Sophia? Hadn't seen you in a minute. How you been? Oh my gosh. It got out. What's up, Corbin? How are you doing? Is your life? How's your day? My day is pretty good. It's pretty good. So far, this is going well. How's your day? Well, there we go. All right, so while I got it in pieces, put my Allen wrench back. Let's talk about it. So this is what you're looking at. This right in here, that little thing there, little thing right there, that's called a jet. Okay. This is your throttle plate. Now this is the part that's bolted onto the motor. It's pretty old. If you look real carefully, you'll see this little small spot right in the middle of the carburetor. Right there. See where my pick stops? What this is called is the venturi. So the air is going to come from this side out this side. And this is what controls that airflow. So on this side of the carburetor, the front, from here to the throttle plate is called port vacuum. From the throttle plate here to the engine is called manifold vacuum. As this opens up, port vacuum increases and manifold vacuum decreases. Those are called vacuum signals. Well, a carburetor is basically a mechanical computer, and when it sees port vacuum increasing, it's going to make a little calculation and shoot fuel into the engine. And it does that by the pressure on the outside being greater than the pressure in here in this tube. Pressure on the outside pushes fuel down, shoots it up through this tube and into the motor. It's so simple. If you can imagine a well inside of a big tunnel, a wind tunnel, and the air pressure flying through it pulls the fluid out and shoots it into the engine. So this carburetor works off of port vacuum. And in a more complicated engine, more complicated carburetor, you have two ports, you have two jets, you have a main jet and you have a pilot jet. The pilot jet is what controls your idle and your low end speeds. Remember I told you as port vacuum increases, manifold vacuum decreases. Well, it's the other way around too. The pilot jet works off of manifold vacuum. And as the manifold vacuum decreases and the port vacuum increases, the carburetor switches from using the pilot jet to the main jet. Thus you accelerate. Boop. That's it. And even more complicated carburetors will have three jets, one in the very front, which is what my engine has. I've got a flat slide motorcycle carburetor. And that's it. That's a motorcycle carburetor. I mean, a basic carburetor for you. And I get why we switched from using carburetors to fuel injection. Fuel injection's way more reliable. But man, this was just simple. I mean, you could have basic engine knowledge, basic mechanical knowledge, and you could keep your car running back in the day. Especially if it had points. You literally could maintain your vehicle with a fingernail file. That's how simple things were back then. And a good mechanic, all he really needed to troubleshoot your engine was a vacuum gauge. Vacuum gauge and some very basic tools. Just going to put all this back together so we don't lose the pieces. Yeah, with something like this though, if you had a sonic cleaner, you just replace what's broke and throw it in a sonic cleaner. You're good to go. That's why I love these old engines. All right, we'll put that to the side. Let's tear deeper into it. Y'all ready for this? You want to go deeper into the motor? You gotta go? Well, man, King Arthur, it was good to meet you. Is that your real name? Are you leaving too, Sophia? Clean up this area a little bit. All right. Pretty sure these nuts and bolts went with that motor. So let's keep it all together. Even the little broken gaskets. Let's bring her back. So, We know we got spark because I did the old school test. And I touched the plug and pulled this cord. And guess what? It fired. Yeah. So, want to see the condition of the cylinder for no other reason other than to just see it. I'm gonna need a socket set, unless these are metric. So far, every bolt on this thing's been metric. Let's see. Let us see. There we go. Don't tell anybody this, but I kind of prefer metric stuff. For no other reason other than it's simple. Yeah, that's not coming off like that. We need juicy here. I'm taking the engine head off. That is tight. Let's hug it. Can't get any good leverage. That bolt is on there. Look at its booty. We're supposed to torque these things off. Jeez, you don't hear that? This head was not torqued on though. Flatheads though, not that big of a deal. Man, I literally just broke the paint. I doubt this head has ever been taken off. Ever. Ever. Golly, that was ridiculous. Let's remove this spark plug. Well, my spark plug wrench don't fit it. Let's try another one. Oh, that's in there hand tight. This was a new plug. See how clean that is? This one is used. Okay. Work on getting this engine cover off. This gotta go. I'd love to have this engine myself. I don't know what I'd power with it. Something cool, definitely. These are so neat in the fact that the cooling system is built in. I've never really understood why motorcycle engines don't do this. A lot of them are air cooled, but they don't have the shroud. And it's not like these are expensive. If an air-cooled motorcycle engine sits too long, oh, that's neat. You can see the old flywheel. Air-cooled motorcycle engine sits too long, they will overheat. I don't see any date on it. That's one thing I like about Tecumseh's, is they have cast iron sleeves, whereas the old Briggs & Stratton engines only had aluminum. That was a give and take. Now we're putting this in here. Whew. Big spark. Yeah, I don't think this has points in it. Yeah, this is solid state. Yeah, in the older Tecumsehs, the points are behind this plate. This one don't have points. It's all in here. That's cool. And this Bubba still runs. All right, let's look more into the motor. And not throw your tools. Don't throw your tools. Okay. This is coming off quite brilliantly. Quite beautifully brilliantly. I do need more torque on the transpositional wobbly screw. Hello there, Paul. And Vinny, I'm glad you're back. Are y'all ready for this? For those of you who have never seen the inside of a Tecumseh engine, if these screws will cooperate, here we go. This is the head. This is very plain. And this is what keeps all the explodey bits inside of the combustion chamber. Without this, you're not doing anything. Okay. So, here we go. Move the spark plug wire out the way. Now watch this little bump here. This is the exhaust valve. It's open, closed, open. Watch this little bump here. This is called a compression release. Boop. Just that little boop right there. That's what allows you to be able to crank your engine. Oh my, this engine was not a very happy one. Ew. This is a very angry engine. Yeah, pretty sure somebody was trying to get this running again, and they didn't go far enough into it to realize that the rings are bad. I do remember you, Paul. I cannot call my dad, for I am still on live. There we go, I'm back. My dad called me for a second, and I'm not going to turn down an opportunity to talk to him. Okay, so what you got here, this is the 4 cycles of an internal combustion engine. This happens in your car. Okay, the first cycle is suck. See, this valve opens up, this piston goes down, and it draws in fuel all the way to the bottom. You see how the valve is closing? This is called squeeze. Squeeze. As it comes up, it compresses the fuel. Okay, right about here, this is called bang. Right about here, the spark plug fires, the fuel burns, and it pushes the piston down. That's called bang. See the valve pop up? This is called blow. Suck, squeeze, bang, blow. Or in better terminology, intake, compression, power, and exhaust. And yes, Paul, I do remember you. That's an engine. These valves are pretty rough looking shape, but the valve seats don't too bad. Can't really see it. My camera angle sucks. Dad's trying to mess with me. Yeah. All right, so here you go. Oh, this is a better angle. So we got it. This is it. This is what happens in your car. Over and over and over and over again. It's cool stuff, man. Okay. Okay, something else wrong with this. We got two problems here. The EGR valve is not doing its job. Or the crankcase ventilation valve is not doing its job. This doesn't really have an EGR. EGR is exhaust gas recirculation. Okay. Ew, pretty gross. That is so smelly, it smells like gasoline. Oh, that's why. It's full of dirt daubers. An environmentalist in California just screamed, "You wish you was me." Oh my gosh. If you had to deal with me being me all day, you would be like, "Steve, how do you be you?" Paul, I think you ought to be you. I think you've got to be the best you can be. Because I bet you now, and I'm pretty sure I'm right, I bet you're pretty awesome, and you just don't realize it. Well, I just fixed this. How about that? Let's put all these gross bits back. Okay. Yeah, I bet there's somebody in California right now felt a disturbance in the force. Me getting this nasty old engine buttoned up. They're like, no! Don't do it. Don't get that old nasty engine running. Let it die. Wish I could see y'all's comments better. I need to put you somewhere else. The light I can't really see. All right, so we talked about the combustion. This guy is what makes the combustion happen. This is called a magneto. And what's neato about a magneto, see what I did there? It says it's magnetic. So on the flywheel, you have a magnet, and whenever you pass a magnet through a coil, you get an electrical jump. This coil does something a little special. Pretty sure that's how this one works. Inside of this, there is an electronic switch, and when this flies by that electronic switch, it opens up, and there is this effect, because inside of here also is a capacitor. There's an effect that happens, the oscillation that happens inside of this coil that generates the high voltage. And high voltage is what makes your spark plug spark. So as long as this is attached to ground somewhere, this engine will run. So this is the original ground strap, and in between these two there was a connection. I love these ignition systems because they're so reliable. The only drawback to these is there's no spark curve. It's a flat curve, which means as your engine RPMs increase, you really need your ignition timing to advance. And as your RPMs decrease, you need your ignition timing to retard. And yes, I will say the retard word because it is the proper word for this scenario. With flathead engines like this, the ignition is static, meaning that it doesn't advance or retard. It just is what it is. So what they do is they set the timing in the middle, so it's the same all of the time. And you lose a lot of power that way. But for what this engine is designed to do, y'all, my nose is itchy and it's covered in grease. For what this engine is designed to do, though, that's not really a problem, because it's a go-kart motor. It doesn't have to be super powerful. I love it. Boop. Doesn't have to be super powerful. It only has to be 3 horsepower, and that's pretty easy to achieve with this. And you can do a little bit of wizardry to this thing to get a little more power out of it. But I mean, being a flathead design, good luck, have fun. Not gonna get that much power out of it. But you can get a lot of fun. The fun to horsepower ratio out of one of these dudes is definitely there. I'm just gonna clean this up and put it back. Good luck doing that on a car engine. The car will say, not today, we're not running anymore, we're done, we quit. My signal is sketchy because I'm sketchy. Y'all know this. I'm sketchy. So how's life been? Life's been pretty good. I've been kind of busy. Hadn't been able to jump on live like I want to. Let's do this. Let's put this head back on. Let's put the cover back on so that way we can crank it. We're going to shoot some starter fluid into it and see what happens. I don't know what the torque specs of this head is, so we're just going to go, okay. The torque specs are going to be, yeah, it's tight. Now, I've got a torque wrench right here. We're not going to be lazy. It's like we're going to be lazy. I'm going to put this spark plug back. This champion spark plug. That sounds like something Donald Trump would say. The spark plug, he's a champion. He's a champion. He does what he does and he's good at it. He's the best. The best spark plug. You can't do it very good, Donald Trump. Yeah, that's not working. These fins are in the way. Stupid fins. It needs to cool the motor off. That's not how you do this. That's how we're doing it, dadgummit. That's the glory of these two, man. You could just tighten them. Growing up, me and my brother had these lawnmowers that we would keep running. God knows I've never torqued down these old Briggs heads. I just tightened them. Didn't know you were supposed to torque them down. But they got such low power. I mean, pretty much as their top pretty much run. Missing 3 head bolts. Where did they go? Where are my head bolts? Why is this here? On my phone messing up my video. Why's it gotta be such an idiot? Golly. There we go. There we go. We got it back on. I don't really see my face anymore. The sun is ruining my camera shot. Oh my glob. Here we go. We're putting in the head bolts. Oh, no, I didn't. Can't have spark without a spark plug wire. Gotta undo my handiwork. Jeez. What the fluff, man. This is some bull spit. Yeah, you heard me. Bull spit. All right, we have the spark. Okay, we're doing this. This is happening now. We are cooking with grease. All right. Now we're fixing to torque this head down to, yeah. 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 See how that works? Yeah. 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 Okay. So now that we have buttoned the head back on, let's shoot some starter fluid in this thing and see what happens. Okay. Y'all hear that? Shoot a little speed in that. Well, there you go, folks. This is the Tecumseh engine, and it's hot out here. I'm ready to go inside. It's fun hanging with you. Love y'all, and let me tell you, just remember that you're not a mistake, you're not a failure, you're awesome, and the world is a better place with you in it. Don't you ever forget that. Believe what I'm telling you, because it's the truth. Love you guys. Later.